Hello, it's me, Tom, your friendly neighborhood atheist, and this is take 4. So I want to get a little bit into why I've decided to do this. Now recently I was at Skepticon, and there were a couple speakers that gave my thinking a bit of a reboot. Justin Volmar, I think his name is, who's a former preacher. He's also deaf, and I had a long conversation with him, which was interesting, being that he couldn't hear me and he couldn't really say anything to me, but we had an interpreter and it was a really cool conversation. And Destin, hope I'm saying that correctly, who you might know as the smarter everyday guy. Very popular on YouTube. I was a big fan, and I knew he was Christian. And when I heard he was going to be speaking at Skepticon, I was surprised and very interested and intrigued, and was curious if religion would come be a part of his talk, and it was. And I think he handled it beautifully. Some people disagreed, but I thought it was a fantastic talk. But he but he really made it clear that he was secular. He's a openly secular person. And what that means is he sees the need for a separation between church and state. And this reminded me of why I started doing these videos, is my frustration and anger at the amount of religion had been put into the government and into schools and into businesses, and just everywhere I look, religion was just being, I felt like it was being crammed down my throat. And I lost sight of the fact that most religious people are secular. Most religious people, their religion is private. They go to church, and some of the churches are kind of culty, but a lot of religious people, like my wife, she doesn't really go to church. She has her religious beliefs and she holds them to herself, and she's quite content with believing. And though we don't discuss it because, I'm rather adamant and she doesn't want to get into it, but I think she holds a rather secular view also. And I think that's probably very true for most religious people. And it is those relatively few, very outspoken, very Fox News worthy religious people who ruin it. And those atheists like Dawkins and Harris and Christopher Hitchens, rest in his soul, not saying that they're bad people, but they make it all look like a fight. And it is a bit of a fight, but it doesn't need to be a fight. And the reason I'm doing these videos is I want there to not be a fight, because I hate fighting. I don't want to be yelling at people. I don't want to call people stupid. That's not my aim. That's not, I draw no pleasure at pointing out the idiocy that religion causes people to believe. The fact that, I've got dozens, hundreds, maybe even thousands of people who've told me, evolution is false. Which that statement is false. It's utterly ridiculous. But because they are religious, and because I'm an atheist, it's smacking heads. It's a fight. And I don't know if they're looking for a fight, but they feel attacked, so they feel like attacking, and I feel attacked, and so I attack, and it's ridiculous. And it doesn't need to be that way. Atheism is not a religion. They want to say it's a religion because sometimes it seems like they want to make fun of us by saying it's religion, like it's some sort of an attack, which seems really funny, because if they practice religion, calling atheism religion as an attack seems counterintuitive, but it seems like that's what they're doing. But I think it's basically because they can't understand how anyone cannot have a religion. It's confusing to them. So I don't want there to be a fight. I want people to be in agreement that religion has no place in government, has no place in schools, has no place in businesses. There's 50 million churches in the US. I mean, there are literally more churches than businesses, I'm pretty sure, because they are freaking everywhere. So there's lots and lots and lots of places for people to be religious. They don't need to be religious in government, in school, or in businesses. It doesn't need to be there. It has no place being there. Religion teaches some pretty incredibly wrong information because it's based on religious teachings that are 2,000 years plus old. And they're wrong. They defy what we know and understand. But because they want to believe that their religious doctrine is true, they force themselves to believe this wrong information. And then they want to put that wrong information into the schools. But you know what? You've got a church. Teach it in your church. You can teach creation as much as you want in your church. It doesn't have to be in a school. So I am fighting for a secular country, which is what it is. It is not a Christian nation. It is a secular nation. That's what it was built on. That is what it was built for. So that's what I'm attempting to do here. I want to give a call out to Justin, who I've told has inspired me, and Destin, who maybe doesn't want me mentioning him, but he did give a fantastic talk. It was very interesting, and the whole how he handled religion was, I gotta say, exceptional. And it's very clear he doesn't want to talk about religion. He wants to talk about science, which is really cool. And I'm kind of that way too. I don't want to talk about religion, but just religion is just so pervasive that I can't seem to get around it. I mean, when it's always there. It's like having a big... Anyways, I'm Tom, your friendly neighborhood atheist, and I'm going to continue doing these things, videos. And again, any input, I appreciate the comments and questions and clarifications, and I hope I'm doing good. That is my intent. I want to make the world a more peaceful place. That is my intention. Hopefully I'm not pissing anyone off, and we'll catch you next time.